Hi, welcome to the first episode of Moderate to Severe. I am your host, Jonathan Scott, and I will be with you for the next 30 minutes or so as we discuss the podcast, the reasons for the podcast, why I chose to do this podcast, and a little bit about myself and the journey that has gotten me here. Um, I am your typical father in the Northeast. I am 47 years old. I'll be 47 in a month. I'm aging myself. So I'm 46 years old. Big fan of cargo pants, New Balance shoes, and number one dad shirts. Um, just live at home with my wife and three lovely kids. Decided after I got back from my trip to Tucson, which we'll talk about in a minute, to get a dog. So now we are living with a 6 pound Cavapoo named Jersey. Um, my story goes back to when I was very small, but I'm going to take you back about 3 months ago, the end of August, or I would say August 26th. School was about to start. I haven't been to work yet this year. Plan on going back in a week and a half, and I'm looking very much forward to it. But 2.5 months ago, I found myself on a plane heading to Tucson, Arizona, to a wellness recovery center, Sierra Tucson. Um, this started after a week and a half of being in a depressive and state where I was having thoughts and couldn't get myself out of it. So the recommendation was for me to get on a plane and go somewhere where I could get the help that I needed. It ended up being a month stay in Tucson. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to Tucson. It is a desert. It is hot. It is hot at the end of August. It is hot in the morning. It is hot at night. Don't let them fool you. The dry heat is not that cool. It is still hot. Um, but that's where I resided for 28 days from the end of August to the end of September. When I got to Sierra Tucson, I was lucky enough to be put into a lodge that housed the RWB, or better known as the Veterans Lodge and the First Responders Lodge. I am not either of those two. I am a civilian. I am actually a high school special ed teacher. I do love my job. But I just lucked out being there. Nervous to go. My mind kind of has me all over the place. I was nervous flying into Phoenix. Phoenix is a 2 hour ride from Tucson. And in my mind, my car was going to get carjacked and I was going to be kidnapped by some banditos. I don't even know if that's a real thing, and never make it to my destination. Also concerned about Sierra Tucson and what it would be like going and staying there. But all of these thoughts that I had did not play out the way it happened. When I got to Sierra Tucson, I was taken into intake and spent roughly about 2 hours there, which is not common. Many people spend many, many hours there to many, many days there getting themselves ready to go. Um, my stay at Sierra Tucson is pretty much the reason for this podcast. Sierra Tucson was a great way for me to grow as an individual and learn more about the mental health issues that I have. It also made me realize that one of the major things we are missing in this society is the fact that men do not have a safe place to talk about mental health issues. At Sierra Tucson, there were plenty of opportunities for me to talk to individuals about the mental health issues. You have to understand that when you go into that environment that is secure and everybody there is vulnerable, you let your guard down. Coming from the Northeast, we do not let our guard down. As a matter of fact, our guard is always up, and just think about your drive to work. You get aggravated by the guy pulling in front of you, weaving in and out of traffic, but he never gets any further than you do. Where you start that line is where you're going to end up. I don't understand why you weave in and out of traffic, but we're not vulnerable. We are uptight, we're agitated, we're always thinking the worst. We never let our guard down. And when I was in Sierra Tucson, my guard came down. Um, the day was planned. I talked to my wife and she says, how are you going to reacclimate yourself when you come back? It was hard. The days were planned out for me. I was a 47, 46. I'm sorry, I'm doing it again. 46-year-old man who was told when he could use the phone, when he could eat, and what classes he would be attending through the day. Classes were 50-minute blocks. We took between 5 and 7 a day with counseling sessions sprinkled in there, one-on-ones with doctors, therapists, and they really had your whole day planned out. It was easy. The time that I found to be almost as valuable as the time spent with the staff would be the time we spent at what they called the butt huts, or I called them the smoking shacks. These areas were where a lot of the growth that I encountered took place. It was a chance for us to really get to know one another and talk and, just really express how we were feeling. I realized that that has never happened to me outside of Sierra Tucson. In 47 years, or probably better off the last, I would say since I was 20, 27 years, I never found that person that I felt comfortable talking with about the things that I struggled with. I struggle with depression. I struggle with self-injurious thoughts. I suffer from ADHD and other ailments. And never once was there that free space that I felt I could talk to. There are individuals, mostly female, who I talk to and understand it and get it. But yet, the male counterparts, there's just something about it where I did not feel safe. And towards the end of my stay there, I started to realize that this was something that needed to change. Something needed to be done. The stigma needed to be broken. Okay, the silence needed to be cracked, and there needs to be a place to talk about the issues that many, many people are suffering from. Um, Sierra Tucson, I cannot speak highly enough about. I'm actually trying to get in contact with many of the people down there to have them on this show to discuss some different topics. But I met with everybody from a naturopathic doctor to a psychiatrist to a therapist to a somatic therapist, all of which played a tremendous part in me getting back on my feet and getting back to where I felt as if I could rejoin society. It is hard to come back and not be able to talk about it. And I've decided on that plane flight back that I was going to do it. I did a lot of things in Sierra Tucson that I haven't done. I started writing poetry. I started journaling. I started working out. And for those of you out there that are going through some of the same things I tell you, one of the first things I can tell you is the working out makes a big difference. Being a former Division I athlete, I was used to working out. The last 25 years, I kind of rested on the fact that I did that in my life. I didn't want to do that anymore. And I realized that was kind of a mistake. Um, I don't have anywhere to expend the energy that I have. So I need that outlet. Um, Sierra Tucson allowed me to walk every day. I actually was walking 15 to 18,000 steps a day. And during a lot of the off times, I would walk around the track out there. And a couple days, guy came out because they would check on us every half hour. And he was like, Jonathan, you can't be walking around the track. It's 107 degrees out. And I said, well, yeah, but it's a dry heat. 107 is hot. It is, as I said earlier, I don't want to care about the dry heat. But 95 and humid, I would take the 107. Still hot. We walk in 95 in the Northeast and humidity. I can walk in 107. They weren't having it, but it really got me going to the fact that when I got home, I went back to my old dojo and started kickboxing, and it started to allow me to try other things. One that I was pressed to try was the Orange Theory Fitness. I'll talk about that more later, but if anybody has ever done that, it's really a great avenue to release energy and to get your day going. So I spent the month in Sierra Tucson learning about myself. And one of the things that I really learned and really decided had to come out of this was the fact that mental health is not something you are going to solve. Mental health is something that you're going to deal with and put strategies in place to help you day by day execute what you want to get done. When I came home, my wife asked me, is this going to make everything better? And my first response to her was, I don't think about the future. I take every day, day by day. And that's one of the things that I really believe you need to look at when you're looking at the mental health thing. Besides the fact that we can't or don't have an outlet to talk about it, we need to realize that you need to focus on the day. Being a father of three, I know how busy it gets with the sports and the school and this and that, but I have really started and dedicated myself to really taking care of things one day at a time. Um, I rate my days. I judge my days, you know. Like I posted earlier this week, it's never too late to start the day over. My day gets started with working out. I'm openly talking about my mental health issues. I will tell anybody who will listen um, that I've been to Sierra Tucson, that I'm currently dealing with depression and anxiety. It's an awkward statement, but people have to know. And I think the reason it is awkward is because most people are not used to people openly talking about it. Um, the last 5 years of my life have been a lot easier to manage than the previous 17. The last 17 years, I would say 17 years going to 5 years ago, I played a little game. I went to therapy, I did some talk, I got prescribed medicine. I tried to beat this by myself. Um, as I stated earlier, being an athlete, I thought I could defeat it. I thought I could beat it. Why should I take medicine? I didn't want to put any chemicals in my body. One of the things you realize is that you cannot beat it. You cannot beat it on your own. You cannot beat it by yourself. You cannot beat it by not taking the medication prescribed or going through the activities or the skill sets that they have provided and that have been proven. About 3 years ago, after a scary incident, I really took it serious. I started ketamine treatment. Um, I currently take ketamine nasally. Um, and it's funny, when I was in Sierra Tucson, I had it injected into my shoulder, and the doctor down there kind of prescribed it like this. If you get it intravenously, you're in the club. If you get it, if you get it just a shot, you land in the coat rack. But if you take it nasally, you're waiting at the door to get in. I've never felt that I was waiting at the door to get in. I don't know the advantage or disadvantage of the ketamine, but I know that the last 3 years have been much better off than the previous 14. So with the ketamine, I also started training with the DBT specialist. This consisted of a year of training or group work, followed by a 45-minute session every week for 52 straight weeks. I did luck out since I was on Monday and had Veterans Day off and Memorial Day, but that's neither here nor there. I also started taking my medication regularly. The medication was something that I never took seriously. I always messed with the medication. I would take it for 3 days. I would not take it for 2 days. I would go back and take it. I would not take it. I went back and forth with the medication. And I said to myself 3 years ago, I'm going to take this medication. Now, with all of these things, as one of my doctors likes to say, it is all of them together. And he does that hand movement. It's all of these things together that are letting you find the success. To me, success was the fact that I wasn't going to have another episode. But what you see is that no matter how hard you're working, they always can come back, whether it's the anxiety, the depression, something of that nature. Um, Down there, I did realize that I was misdiagnosed. I did start taking things for my ADHD, which has helped me maintain my focus. Now, one of the things, though, is that my mind, I tell people, kind of looks like Times Square before taking this medication. And the red ticker tapes that went there, I had 1,000 of them in my brain. And they were spewing out different things left and right and left and right. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that because I thought it was great that I had all these ideas and information and things going through. I didn't realize how much of a pressure it put on me to kind of work my way through those to take the important information out, the things that I needed, okay, and to push away. I know there are others dealing with this. Um, I saw a naturopathic doctor down there, started taking some vitamins, started taking some supplements. One of the things I started taking was Focus Fizz, find it to be extraordinarily helpful along with the other things. Now, I'm going to say this multiple times through every episode. I am not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one. All I know is that I am an expert on me. And being an expert on me, I know the things about myself. What I know is that getting the help I needed and being free to talk about it has relieved a ton of stress on me. It has made the biggest difference in the world. I am putting it out there. I am letting everybody know, hey, this is who I am. These are the things that I deal with. Some people are not comfortable with it. Um, it's funny. I got a text message from one of my closest friends, and he pretty much said, I heard what was going on and this and that, and it was great. And I called him when I got back and we were talking, and he said, I just didn't know what to say. I said, you don't have to say anything. He's like, yeah, but I felt bad. I felt like I should have said something. He's like, I had found out about a week and a half ago, but I held off on texting you because I didn't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Um, just understanding and knowing that people deal with it is big enough. Um, I've come a long way. I can remember 6 years ago laying on my couch sleeping during the Christmas holidays while my best friend put my one of my best friends put my dishwasher in. Don't remember him putting it in, but I do know that I was in a depressed stage. Some people ask, why are you starting this podcast now? Well, if there are people out there like me, I know that the holidays are one of the toughest times. I hated the holidays. I had the toughest time during the holidays. Um, Halloween right through New Year's was the worst for me. Didn't like the holidays, despise getting gifts still to this day. I'd rather give a gift than receive a gift. Um, the winter starts to bring people down. You're losing sunlight. It's dark all the time, and it becomes tough. And you're going to work and you're getting prepared for the holidays, and there's no way to talk about it or nothing is there to kind of alleviate the stress and anxiety that you're feeling. Um, Hopefully, through this podcast and open lines of communication and the guests that I will be having on this show, we will really be able to kind of start breaking down that wall and provide a safe haven for people to talk about it. I do have an email address. It is Jonathan at moderate to severe.com. The number two is a numeral. Jonathan is Jonathan. Feel free to email me. You can follow on Instagram at moderate, underscore, sorry, moderate, the numeral two severe. But this is supposed to be a platform for you and me. This is therapy for me. I enjoy public speaking. I enjoy providing um, a platform where people can talk about it. It's funny, when I was down in Sierra Tucson, I was very friendly with people and had a core group of friends. And one of the young ladies called me Bing Bong from Inside Out, if you're aware of it. And the reason she called me Bing Bong, because she said I was so happy and friendly and goofy and made everybody laugh. But when I'm back home, I don't have that same affect. And I think the reason, or I know the reason, is because it's hard to be yourself when you're happy one day and sad the next day, or going through things when you're not really sure. Now, I don't really have happy days, sad days that go just like that, but I am more to myself now. I'd rather keep to myself. And I said to myself, I need to make more of an effort to get out there. So this is my effort to get out there. I hope you enjoyed the story. There's so many more to do. There's so much more to talk about. But for now, I'm going to end. I hope to see everybody at the next episode. If you have any questions, comments, please, please, please reach out to me at Jonathan at moderate to severe.com. All right. I want everybody to have a great week, and I will see you next week. Thanks a lot.